Thanks for staying with us. So over the weekend, the governorship elections held in Ekiti State, according to reports, buying of votes was noticed across many polling units. However, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has been given 7 days to gather information about the reports of vote buying by the 3 leading political parties in just concluded elections in Ekiti. Now, how do we stop this vote buying, especially because we saw EFCC officials going around arresting people who were buying votes on that day? You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-3907-6948. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. Now, inducing of delegates is something that we've seen over the years. Not the first time we're hearing about vote buying, but the fact that young people are trying to be serious about 2023 general elections, everybody's going out there to register, get your PVC. But we saw how EFCC officials were arresting people. But the problem, there are 2 parts of this conversation, because I think BC mentioned it last 2 weeks ago, that there are some people who buy in bulk before the elections. You do the bulk buy where you are going to come and pay either the ballet, the local government chairman, the real Yala. That's the bulk buying that EFCC is not seeing or investigating. It is the panic buyers on the day. It's the panic buyers on the day of voting that EFCC is catching, because these are the retail buyers. They're not buying in bulk. because it's true that somebody has already gone ahead to pay and bought in bulk. EFCC is not arresting those ones. But the guys on panic buying, they're trying to get as many people, because I'm told that once you vote now, the results goes from the polling unit straight to INEC. So because of that, you can't alter the numbers. You can't influence again at the INEC office. It goes to the system. So what you influence is the buying. Let me come to you, ladies. Because somebody was telling me over the phone yesterday that buying, there's no crime in buying. The only thing can do is crime. The only crime in buying is when you buy stolen goods. As long as you are selling, there's buying. It's not illegal to buy.
It's not a crime to buy votes on the Electoral Act.
No, are you sure it's
I think so.
We'll find out from the election.
That's why they can arrest anybody with monies.
But what are your thoughts on this vote buying issue?
But for me, with Nigerian politics, I just cannot be bothered. That's why I told my husband yesterday. He was shouting. I said, well, in this election, because we saw in the evening, after the counting of votes yesterday, both parties were represented. PDP was represented by one guy, was really vehemently upset about the vote buying thing, saying that they lost because there was a major vote buying. And I was saying to my husband, at the highest bidder, I win. All of them, all parties, in this country, they all buy votes. It is on the election day your eye will be seeing miracle. Imagine my small polling units there. You'll be seeing things and you'll just be upset unnecessarily. Somebody last elections clearly shoved me out of the way with my video phone. I was doing video of whatever was happening. Clearly pushed me, silly me out of the way. What is the new thing? So really, I cannot. When all of them shout and they make all this noise, I really cannot. It's the highest whoever.
But isn't that sad?
Very sad, because just as we talked about last week about poverty, we're saying there's poverty and there's lack of dignity. And there's a wide gap between it. If you look at the amount of money, these people just don't have self-respect.
Yes.
True. That somebody can flaunt a little amount of money in front of you, and you go, when they do not even see where you press your finger, you still press it, and all of those things just shows that there's this lack of dignity, and we've pushed our people so far that they are now buyable. And that in itself should worry any serious leader in this country.
What I learned in school, I studied political science, and lobbying was a major part of politics. Lobbying is an integral part of politics. You cannot influence without, carrying out one form of lobbying or the other. And it goes in different forms. So it could be by word of mouth. You make promises. You promise political positions. When you finally get there, you exchange cash and all of that. But the same thing to do that I was taught was basically the lobbying needs to be outside the election zone. So you do everything you need to do. You have months to campaign and beg and plead and lobby and exchange cash and cars and everything you want to do before the day of the election. On that day of election, you should trust that all the sacrifices, all the things you promised, everything that people have decided to either be on your side or not on your side. So where it becomes a crime is when you now bring it on the day of election and you're looking for people to still go ahead and vote for you after you have exchanged something. And that's where I think INEC needs to really sit up about it. But, you know, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, was the one that gave the government this ultimatum that in 7 days they should prosecute. Is it that in INEC they didn't have any plans to prosecute? Because we've interviewed people from different political parties and they've talked about how money was exchanging hands, dollars here and there. Is it that they don't have, are they waiting for somebody to give them an ultimatum? We should have by now heard that we are beginning to prosecute people we found culpable. Why are we waiting for another organization to remind us of the duties we need to do? That means we don't even have an intention.
We'll see. Well, that's why we're bringing a guest in from INEC to let us know what their plans are. But Miriam, your thoughts on this?
So I would like to ask you guys if you are aware of a time where there was no vote buying, vote selling, and this sort of...
Never.
In Nigeria. Have we ever had...
Maybe during 1993 elections. Maybe. I don't know.
1993?
We don't know. There was the freest and fairest election of Nigerian history. We don't know.
And so if our history has always just been that, and we have constantly complained about it, so we have just been Nigerian about it. Let's complain about it. Let's argue about it. Let's come on the show and talk about it again. And then the next 4 years, we'll do the exact same thing. And I'm tired of always just discussing things that just never seem to change. I feel that every administration has had an opportunity to make a difference. I mean, this is a system that has been there forever. The only reason why every administration that has come and left and haven't done anything about it is because it pays them to have a system with so many loopholes that anyone can come and, you know, make advantage of, make a mockery of the electioneering process. If Nigerians are, you know, we got to a point where we're saying to Nigerians, take their rice, take their bags, take their money, and still do the right thing. And for me, you know, a part of me also agrees, okay, that is fair. Although, personally, it will be, don't even collect anything from them so that they have nothing to say to you after. But if that's where we have come to, then allow the Nigerians now make the decisions on the day based on either their integrity or the fact that they have sold their votes anyway. Now, the one that is even so glaring this particular year, especially through the primaries, is the open display of the cash. There used to be a time that it was hidden. We would hear, the Ghana must go that went last night. Now it's right there on TV. Everybody is seeing it. The cash is flowing left, right. We're doing memes and videos of delegates plastering monies on their heads. We have a delegate, which was supposed to be a good news, that he got money from being a delegate and then used it for his community. I mean, it's just, we're just saying, and it's just normal. We have normalized horrible things in this country. And I guess normalizing this is the simplest of things to normalize. After all, every day we wake up and people are being kidnapped. Every day we wake up, people are being killed for nothing. And so what is it to be throwing money around?
You know, you use the word mockery, which I think I'd like to stay on for a minute, because what I found more laughable is the fact that less than 400,000 people determined who the next governor of that state would be. We have millions of registered voters within that state. Now, that makes it worrisome because we're talking about the third force. We're talking about the new wave of Nigerian youths that are so angry and they want to go to 2020 elections. And we saw Ekiti. Where are you? Why didn't you show up? Why didn't you come out to vote? We didn't see that third force of like, we don't want APC, we don't want PDP, let's come in. We didn't see that. So all the noise we're making, are we just making it, or we are actually going to do it? It's a whole different ballgame. Let me take this call. Good morning, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, how's everything? Yeah, thank you for picking my call. I believe you guys are discussing about the politics that happened in Ekiti State, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we can commend INEC and we can commend the security agency for what they did over the weekend. It was really commendable. Okay. However, let's look at the issue of vote buying. I think the issue right now in Nigeria is an ideological mindset, indicates that people, political parties, and some non-governmental agencies need to educate people on why they need to vote for the right candidate, why they're making those choices, not just blindly following parties and all these kind of things. So it's really important that they have more kind of like sanitizing the people
right,
so that they can make the right choices. And then also, in the case of having more strong political parties on ground, it's really, really important so that people will have more choices.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. I don't know if that's the right, because we know what to do. Yes, go ahead.
I don't agree with the political... Because, okay, let's even talk about these Ekiti elections. If we talk about major political parties, the PDP did not come second in the elections. SDP did. I think Ekiti people voted people they knew. So let's say Oye Banji and Shegun are major popular people there. And so it wasn't about parties having more parties. What we should be looking at is even having independent candidacy. So that one person that doesn't have this structure and platform that
is the constitution now. We've not reviewed our constitution to allow
I'm just saying that we know those are the sort of improvements. If you use this election to judge, those are some of the improvements that we should be looking towards, because I think that the people voted people. That they not parties.
But they knew governorship.
If not, APC, PDP will be second, or PDP is first, APC is second. That's usual pattern.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with this discussion on election. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Joining this conversation concerning elections that we had recently is Mr. Ezenwa Nwago. He's the chairman, Partners for Electoral Reform, and board member of Yaga Africa. That's one of the most credible election observers that we have. Good morning, sir. Are you there? Mr. Nwago, are you there? I had him on the phone in a moment. Hello, sir. Are you there? All right, so I think while we're trying to connect to him, you're going to say something earlier.
Yes, I was saying that Nigeria is a country that respects money. We value people based on what we think they have, the material things that we see around them, and that's how we place our value on those people. And we have on this table said that if you want to, for instance, contest the presidency, you should be able to gather at least a certain amount of money. It's still a way of validating money over the substance of the person. And you cannot remove the cultures of a society from their politics. Everything goes hand in hand. So if we on one hand say we need to focus on integrity and everything, and on the other hand we realize that, okay, the people who want to lead us, they should have a certain amount of money in their accounts to be sure that we have weeded off the ones that are insignificant or the ones that are not serious-minded, then we are also encouraging them to buy us and buy our votes.
I remember that, you see, this vote buying is not just a local issue, it's not a Nigerian issue, because I remember a friend of mine she was working for the United Nations, and she had to go to Iraq or some country like that to help as an elections observer. And she saw quite a bit of this buying going on where politicians are inducing votes and trying to get people to vote. So she was shocked. But what was interesting compared to Nigeria is the fact that the officials were on ground, monitoring very closely. And you could see they could tell they were making arrests right there. I mean, we saw EFCC also making arrests, but the part of the INEC, are they empowered? Is that part of their jobs? How the question I want to find out. To arrest, because they know better, and they've seen all these various techniques people use to induce votes. So is it the EFCC's job? Or could it be the police? Could the police have been deployed better to do their job? Or is it INEC themselves? Are they empowered? So that's the confusion, because they actually had officials who were actually there who were arresting on ground.
I think based on synergy between agencies, both of them are empowered. INEC, although, are empowered to, to conduct elections and prevent...
to prosecute, right?
So they, of course, would hand over to the relevant agencies to prosecute. But for where there is financial impropriety, this nature of which, happens during elections, because so they said at that particular residence where the EFCC made the arrest, there was massive cash flow there, and people were being paid there, and so EFCC raided and arrested those people. I'm only waiting to see which party, because that wasn't mentioned. All of us were speculating that it was the winning party, that, that their agents were there, but we need to wait until that comes out in public. But I think
it always surprises me, all the sort of things that happen at the polling units, because you would hear that there are agents from different parties being represented there. So what does it mean? Does it mean that these agents now come together and collude and say, it does not matter which party, here we are, let us take the money and go, So the only way forward, apart from just discussing and rediscussing what we already know, is just make the whole process electronic, the whole process. from the point that you show up.
You can hack into the system too, Mariam.
Before we get there, before we get to that level, let us even start there. And then when we have put that in place, I think it will even be easier to apprehend hackers than people, just different random people coming with different amounts of money. There are just so many people that can, that can just mess up the process in this case. But when you have like an electronic system, I mean, we've asked for it for so long. I wonder why it is still an issue. But the only reason we don't have it, is just because it's serving those in power and people in politics and people that are trying to get in politics.
That's why we keep saying that the lawmakers are even so much more important. Everybody's doing presidency. We have seen with Buhari's government that, listen, the real people that we need to be clamoring for change for is the National Assembly. They are the ones that actually get the jobs done. They're the ones that make the laws. They're the ones that can actually ensure that the president adhere to some of these policies. If he chooses not to sign a bill, they can veto it. There's a lot of power within the National Assembly to fix it. The president can do so much. They can even summon the ministers to come and say, how did you spend your money? So we need the lawmakers.
Well, there's something else that you said that we had that skipped my mind. When the number of people that came out,
less than 400,000,
and we're talking of a wave. And this is the time that we're hearing a lot of young people saying, this time we're going to show up. This time we're going to show them that it's different. And there's still a group of people who are saying it's still just a Twitter campaign. It's still just an online campaign. And if at this point we are not showing up,
if you see
many people, I know that many people are also waiting until it is the big presidential election. But as you just mentioned, it's at the grassroots that the major changes are made. It's at the grassroots that you can afford that you must be involved. By the time you get to the presidential level, there are just so many things in place that sometimes once you have sorted out the grassroots level, you sorted out the local government, your state level, what happens even at the presidential level does not even make as much
had
impact.
Lost Ekiti. It will affect all the states. It will affect the numbers, the projections that they were having. It will affect it. But no, we sat home waiting for next year to vote.
To predict the general elections and, this change that we're asking. But if you look at the Ekiti elections, for instance, you see more middle-aged and older people coming out to vote.
Yes.
The pictures that were flying around, even on the news coverage that happened in the morning, I saw people that I thought, these ones who want to sleep. It's we that we are on Twitter. These people that are on Twitter shouting,
they
would have come out to vote. How many of them? They stayed on Twitter, waited for the results, and kept posting and tweeting and kept posting and tweeting. And I said to my husband, on Twitter you can retweet 1,000 times.
Yes.
But you can only cast one vote. Where you should go outside and go and press that one vote.
I think it's the willingness to sacrifice because this is a generation that we want things very easily. You can sit on your bed and do your jobs, do your transactions. You don't need to get to an office. And we want it, to be replicated in politics. However, we have not gotten there. So for us to get that change, we need to be able to step outside our comfort zone to do that sacrifice. But the fear of violence is what keeps most people in their homes. If I hear I will not stand up.
Yeah.
No matter how much I want to vote this particular person, I need to be sure that my life is safe.
Right.
I go vote and I come home safely. I cannot come and die for the country. So it's still what, sort of fuels the mindset of these young people who feel this thing is too violent. Do I have the energy to be there while they are dragging
ballot boxes? As a young person, have your parents will call you. Remember on the
Be safe for
children.
Go home.
Parents are calling. I heard that the police are coming to the toll gate. Please, we'll carry us.
that place
go
now.
there.
Which is why it is worse than when the youth finally come out, they are the ones selling votes the most.
So let me take this. I think of the Mr. Ezenwa is back. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Your head come outside. No go do the right.
Okay, I'm told now the INEC, Mr. Festus Okoye. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Okay, INEC now.
I'm trying to get you on. Good morning, sir. Are you there? Hello? Okay, so there are 3 layers. Getting your PVC, that's the first P. The second is picking up your PVC.
When it's
the
ready.
third P is participating in voting. Yeah. So there's a lot of clamoring for getting your PVC right. Let's just hoping that we can get Mr. Festus Okoye to speak to us about what we are hearing concerning people being discriminated against in certain areas, certain states, certain communities are being discriminated against. I'd like to get that. Mr. Festus Okoye, are you there? So while we're trying to connect with him, and then it's one thing, after INEC has done their own of getting you to register, Now, who picking up is a different ball game. So after you registered now, they'll tell you, as I still said it, so the lady told us a few weeks back that about 20 million PVCs have not been picked. In Lagos State alone, they said about 34,000 PVCs hadn't been picked up. Only 3,000 have picked up at the time. That was a few weeks ago. Now, after you now even make the effort to pick up, would you participate on the day? We just say that violence, if you hate papa, you stay in your house. Yeah. So that third P of participate, that's where Ekiti found themselves. You registered, we have about, I think it was 2 or 3 million voters have been registered within Ekiti State. Less than 400,000 came, maybe, I don't know how many people actually packed up, but came to participate. That's a problem in itself.
Yeah, so this, I think...
We have 8 months between now and general elections. We need to really ensure people come out to vote.
I think this is where the government needs to be sincere and support us, the electorate, to come out and vote in terms of ensuring that there are security people around who will deter these young people. You will have them now, but when the hoodlums come out, even the security officials are running away. So they need to, I wouldn't say militarize it, because this is a democracy, it's not a military regime. But is there any way that the government will ensure that there are enough security agencies positioned at different posts, especially the violent hubs, where they know that a lot of people will come to do vote buying and ballot stealing and everything, to ensure that they protect the lives of people who come to vote. We hear stories of even ad hoc staff who work for INEC lose their lives. In some cases, NYSC of
core members
who have decided to serve the country by going out to assist the government lose their lives. So we need to have that guarantee that there will be a form of safety that will protect the electorates, protect the ad hoc staff, so that we can have a free and fair election. When the government can assure us, then we will come out en masse.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.